What is going on, guys? It is Sean GPT here today. We're going to be doing a 1,000 round review of one of the most controversial suppressors on the market today, and that is the Dead Air Lazarus. Thank you guys so much for the overwhelming support that you've given me over the last few weeks here. As you can see, we've updated the setup a little bit here. Got a whole new filming rig. I have some mood lighting in the back. I still have that mess in the corner that I got to pick up, but that'll happen at some point. But yeah, I just want to keep upgrading my setup as we go here, as we grow the channel and keep bringing you guys some higher quality content. So without further ado, today we are going to be talking about the Dead Air Lazarus and everything that it is and everything that Dead Air isn't. For those that don't know, Dead Air's reputation essentially has been tarnished over the last couple of years. This is due to the Sierra 5 debacle. And for those that don't know, essentially Dead Air came out with the Dead Air Sierra 5, and a lot of people had issues of that with that suppressor. Essentially, it was turning itself into a $1,000 NFA maraca. And that really came from the construction of the suppressor itself. There were loose and misaligned baffles, as well as some other QC issues, causing baffle strikes, causing end cap strikes, and ultimately all the bad things you do not want to happen to a suppressor that you own. So that's all well and fine. There have been other suppressors out on the market that have had some kind of QC issue as well. However, the problem was essentially how Dead Air treated their customers when this happened. There was no official statement from them saying there was any kind of issue. There was no kind of public apology. Understandable, but they never addressed the problem at hand. Not only that, but they also really tarnished their name when it came to taking care of customers. A lot of people had a very valid and extensive complaints on the whole warranty process of these suppressors, along with general concerns of how they were treated by Dead Air and their customer service team. So why would you go out and spend $1,000 on a suppressor in this market where there are RC3s, when there are Cat Whitebreads, when there are Huxworks Flows, when there's OCL Poloniums? Well, at least for me, it was mostly curiosity. The specs on this suppressor are very interesting, and I want to go over those, so we're going to get this on the table here and continue on. All right, so when you get the suppressor, you're greeted with this packaging. Now, as nice as it is, it's not really creative in the modern times of suppressor packaging from various manufacturers. This will do just fine. It's just, not as fun as others. If you're looking for a suppressor that comes in a box that essentially makes it look like it is a condom, then the Dead Air Lazarus might not be for you. But as you see, you'll be greeted with this sheet here. It's got some information on the suppressor itself, which we'll go over. There's a little bit of foam protecting it. You'll get a shim kit, which is more important if you buy the chemo adapter than it is for the Xeno, which we have here. We get a sticker to advertise that you supported a brand that treats their customers poorly, and you get the suppressor itself with the included muzzle adapter. So obviously here we have a Dead Air Xeno mount, and the reason I went for this essentially is because it seems to be the least problematic of the two. However, this suppressor is offered in chemo as well, and it's offered in a few different colors. You can get this in FDE in both mounting solutions, as well as the Silencer Shop Gray. It's a custom color that they do if you order the suppressor from Silencer Shop. And that is only offered in the Xeno mounting platform. So taking a look at the actual quality of the suppressor, the build quality itself is really nice. I really like how the suppressor looks. I like this rib design around the exterior. It helps a lot, especially for the chemo and Xeno adapters, where you can just grab onto the suppressor, get a firm grip, and twist it. So really nice there. I have no complaints. I've been pretty rough with the suppressor itself here, and I'll try to get this in focus for you a little bit better. But as you can see, there are some nicks and dings around the body. That's to be expected with any suppressor. It's not perfect. You will see this spot throughout the video, and what this is a melted 100 Concepts light cap, essentially. I have that on one of my Surefires when I was testing this suppressor, and I had it just a little too close on that swivel mount, and it melted onto the suppressor. So No fault of Dead Air. That is completely that is completely user error there, and I learned a $10 mistake never to do that again. So that'll burn off in time. I'm not really concerned with how the suppressor looks in general. It definitely gets pretty dirty, and part of that is this some like I have a hard time saying this is a flow through can because it's really not, but essentially it has like these vents in the front that let some gas escape, and it is part of the R series front cap line. So you can change this front cap out if you get a baffle strike, but also you can change it to get different front caps that help better with flash suppression. You can do the e-brake that they have, which I would not waste my money on. Or this is really interesting when Dead Air teased this can and was showing it off at all of the different manufacturer shows, they actually had an R series attachment on the front where you could twist it, and it was almost like an adjustable gas block, but it would change like the gas properties of the suppressor itself. So super interesting there. This suppressor is hub compatible, so if you don't like the mounting solutions from Dead Air, you can always change it to any other hub compatible design. Different Q mounts, stuff like that. This is going to work just fine. Don't worry about it. The body of the suppressor is constructed of Haynes 282 material. Now, this is supposed to be like the new wonder material for suppressors in modern times. I think we're going to see a lot of cans come out with that same material in the future, but right now this is one of the few suppressors that is completely designed in it. The overall like body of the suppressor, pretty standard for a full size. With the Xeno mount, it's just under 6 inches long, so really compact. It only weighs 16.5 ounces, so it's pretty lightweight in terms of a hard use suppressor. But the biggest marketing feature of this suppressor, and the reason I bought it, was because of the Triskelion baffle system. Now, if you haven't seen this, I'll throw some pictures on the screen as well. It's really crazy looking. It's kind of like a bunch of bicycle spokes or like a network of rims on from giant trucks. It's really interesting. So the way they can get this design is through 3D printing. So there's a lot of technology in the suppressor itself. Now, they market the Triskelion baffle system essentially to do pretty much everything for the suppressor. So it dissipates heat better, it gives it better tone, better sound qualities, better suppression, as well as actually mitigating gas that you feel through the face coming back through the system. And we'll get into that in a little bit here, but overall, the materials, everything about the suppressor, I'm super happy with. Spoiler alert, I've had no baffle strikes, I've had no problems with the suppressor, but yeah, this is just a nice overview. I think that if you're buying a can for just looks, it's pretty hard to beat this. Dead Air does make some really nice looking suppressors, so kudos to them for that. I do want to take a minute to go over the Dead Air warranty because it is a little bit confusing in today's time. So on the screen here, we are going to be seeing the Dead Air warranty. Now, they talk about all kinds of manufacturer defects for the lifetime of the suppressor, which obviously makes sense. And they don't mention baffle strikes. They say the suppressor is going to be serviceable, but I don't think you can take the Triskelion baffles out of the suppressor. So at least not at home. It is not very intuitive to take those out at all. So I don't know how they're going to go about doing that. If you go on Reddit and other places, then you'll see how the warranty shakes out for other people. Now, the baffle strikes are kind of a crazy thing because it's really hard to determine what caused them a lot of the time. It's also really hard for a manufacturer to want to warranty a baffle strike. This can come from a lot of different things, between the suppressor itself using a different mounting system than what they recommend. Even though this is hub compatible, I would have a hard time believing that Dead Air is going to warranty your baffle strike on a Q mounting platform, but maybe I'm completely wrong there. I don't have experience with that. It's just, in my mind, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, if you mount this up with like your, say, chemo adapter and you get a baffle strike, which is extremely common nowadays, it seems like every suppressor is getting destroyed by the chemo system, then yeah, they'll probably take care of you if you're kind to them. But again, it's a really hard thing to talk about. But overall, yeah, I think they'll take care of you. I think the lead times are going to be a lot better in terms of the warranty because they've taken care of the Sierra 5 debacle at this point, hopefully. And overall, yeah. Now, this wouldn't be a suppressor review if we didn't have sound clips. And don't worry, we have plenty. But I want to throw up some disclaimers really quick. So, The first clips that you're going to see are essentially comparisons from varying yards downrange of the gun between when it's shooting unsuppressed as well as suppressed. Now, the audio from those clips is shot with an iPhone, so it's not going to be completely accurate. However, it gives you a little bit of an idea of a tone of being downrange of one of these Dead Air Lazarus suppressors. The audio clips after that of me shooting in a field are going to be shot with the DJI Mic 2 that I have now. And that is going to be far more accurate in terms of sound and tone. We do have some shots of showing how loud the suppressor is as well, and those are in an enclosed building. The host gun for the review is going to be my Bravo Company 11.5-inch standard upper. So this is paired on my SBR lower, and the only changes I've made are the Radian SD charging handle as well as a Geisley Super 42 H3 buffer system. That's all I've had to use to get this suppressor to eject around the 2 to 3 o'clock position. I prefer my rifle to be slightly over gassed because I want the ultimate reliability. The harshness doesn't really matter, and to be honest, the Radiant SD actually is the perfect combo for the suppressor. So I had no gas to the face, I'll tell you that right now. We'll go over that in my final thoughts though. Until then, here are the audio clips. All right, about I think 25 yards unsuppressed, 11.5. 25 yards, suppressed with the Dead Air Lazarus. All right, 50 yards unsuppressed. $50 yards suppressed with the Dead Air Lazarus. All right, 100 yards unsuppressed. Hundred yards suppressed with the Dead Air Lazarus. So As you can see, it sounds pretty good. I'm really impressed with the overall performance of the can. I've had zero issues with it. I have no gas to the face, and I really couldn't complain. And the overall decibel performance was actually really good. We were hanging out around 110 consistently indoors, or at least with three walls and a roof. So that's really good. And for an 11.5 inch SBR in 5.56 shooting full 5.56 power loads, it did really good. 5.56 is such a hard caliber to suppress. And you really couldn't, like, if I didn't know that this was a 6 millimeter arc can, I would have definitely thought this was a dedicated can. It sounds so good. It sounds like it's dedicated for the 5.56. And then you get that added option if you're on the bleeding edge of technology when it comes to ARs and hunting rifles. If you have a 6 millimeter arc rifle or want to build one and you also have 5.56, this is pretty much like your only option in terms of like elite performance. So I would definitely have no problem picking it up if that's your case. Now, when it comes to other brands, it's really hard because Otter Creek makes a fantastic product. I really love the cat white bread, but the actual Dead Air Lazarus and how it stacks up to there, it sounds so much better than the Polonium. And I'm sorry to the people that love that suppressor. This sounds better. And it also suppresses significantly better. I'm very, very excited and happy with how this suppresses an 11.5 inch rifle to a point where this is now the dedicated suppressor on my BCM for what it's worth. BCM uppers, even if you get the Mark II, which has the gas channels, are known for being extremely gassy. And almost all the time you have to buy an adjustable gas block or some kind of BRT tube, something to mitigate that. A lot of the times with those SBRs, it's really hard to get away with the SD and the upgraded H3 buffer. But for me, it worked out great. I was super happy with that. That saved me a little bit of time, a lot of money, and ultimately those installs take like 10 seconds each. So it really made the whole user process great. If you want a suppressor that works fantastic out of the box, immediately gives you benefits when it comes to sound, when it comes to gas performance, and giving you a lot of durability, then look no further than the Dead Air Lazarus, to be honest. I really am impressed with this can. I had very mid expectations of it to begin with, and I was sincerely blown away by the overall experience of what I got. So, if you're considering a Dead Air Lazarus, even in 2025, with all of those things, if you want a great hard use suppressor that sounds great, suppresses really well, and is rated for very heavy use on two different very popular calibers, then buy it. I mean, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with it. Again, I really have no problem recommending this Dead Air Lazarus to a wide variety of different people. For the prepared citizen, for a good hunter, for law enforcement, I think that this suppressor is great. I have no problems with the build construction. It feels super solid. It suppresses well. It really sounds great. And it really changes how some of these enclosed suppressors with that good of sound performance can be efficient with gas. So overall, super happy with it. Highly recommend it to a lot of different people. And yeah, I'm just going to continue to use the suppressor. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I sincerely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, from the support that I've gotten almost through the last month here. It's been hard to think that I've gotten to a point of where the channel is starting to grow pretty quickly. We're only at 200 subscribers, but that was a massive goal for me. I thought in 6 months I would have 200 subscribers. So I really appreciate it. Every subscriber counts at this point. You know, it's a huge deal, every subscriber I get, and I don't take that lightly, and I want to keep bringing great content. That being said, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, share it, subscribe to the channel for more really interesting stuff. I'll give you guys a small sneak peek, and it has to do with a very cheap MP5 build. So that will be coming up next week. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next video, guys.